impossibility even when regarding akhandatvam as a upadhi, as an upadhi, or even as a jati, and hence it cannot be considered as the tatparya vishayatvam, which would determine the meaning delivered by the sentence. In saying akhandatvam cannot be the upadhi, the impossibility that he had expressed was in two parts. The first one, that regarding bheda shoonyatvam as the meaning of akhandatvam, and regarding parichheda shoonyatvam as akhandatvam. And in reply to this, the Siddhanti over here, he says it should not be a problem in accepting akhandatvam as an upadhi. And even whilst accepting akhandatvam as upadhi, the problem or the defect of impossibility when accepted as bheda shoonyatvam also would not occur, nor will the impossibility of accepting parichheda shoonyatvam will occur. Clarifying his position, now he goes ahead to show how akhandatvam can be regarded as bheda shoonyatvam. And he says that this bheda that we are accepting are of three kinds: vijatiya, sajatiya, swagat bhed. And these, all the three bhedas, all the three differences are absent in Paramatma, and therefore akhandatvam remains unaffected by the defect you had presented, the defect of impossibility. In explaining how vijatiya bheda doesn't exist in Brahman, he presented us with two pramanas. The first pramana says, vacharambhanam vikaro namadheyam mrittika ityeva satyam. Vacharambhanam vikaro namadheyam mrittika ityeva satyam. The Shruti presented us with an example, an illustration. The example is of the clay and the pot. Clay is the karanam, the cause, and pot is the effect, karyam. Between the karya and karanam, Karanam is Satyam and Karyam is an appearance. Mritika is Satyam, pot, plate, all these things which are made out of the clay are only an appearance on the clay. They may have a functional value. Nobody denies it. The pot has a functional value. The bowl has a functional value. The plate has a functional value. The pan has a function. All these things have a functional value. But just having a functional value is not the determining factor to determine whether it is real or not, whether it is Satyam or not. So Karanam, Mritika is Satyam. The pot, plate, bowl, pan, all these things are only an appearances on Mritika, on the clay. And therefore, the Karyam is an appearance, and by that virtue, we will say it is mithya. Hopefully, all this is remembered. Is only mithya. Then, the Purva Paksha said that what is karyam, the effect, you have successfully shown as to be an appearance. What is shown as an appearance over here in this argument? Only that what is the karyam. So this prapancha means the Panchamaha Bhautika Srishti is karyam, and therefore by that virtue you can say that it is an appearance, kalpitam, and hence mithya. But sir, avidya is not karyam, is not it? Avidya is not something that is created. Avidya is not something which is born out of anything. And therefore, avidya is definitely not karyam. Rather, we will go ahead, and you yourself have gone ahead to show that how avidya becomes the karanam for all the appearances. True? Now, going by your previous argument, karanam, cause is satyam, effect is mithya. So avidya is not a karyam, avidya is karanam, and by this ticket, now we are confronted with what? We are confronted with avidya becoming satyam. If your Brahman is satyam, then even avidya is also equally satyam. Okay? Now we have a problem. That avidya is also another satyam, just like Brahman. Why? For two reasons. Avidya is not karyam, first reason. And even if you stick to that also, just one one argument, avidya is not karyam and hence avidya should be regarded as satyam. We can continue with this argument of the Purva Paksha. Though the argument is not mentioned fully, but we have to fill in the blanks. Because the teacher, the author, has given a reply to this argument. So Purva Paksha is not mentioned, but he has already assumed there is a Purva Paksha, and that Purva Paksha is incorporated in the reply provided by the teacher, by the author. So that's why there is a presence of Purva Paksha. What is that Purva Paksha saying? Avidya is not karyam, and therefore avidya, by the virtue of not being the karyam, the effect will gain the status of being satyam. Okay? Now, and if avidya is going to be there, then Brahman is not avidya. Correct? Just as the cow is not the horse, Brahman, Paramatma, is not avidya. Just as the cow is not the horse, then in the cow, Ashva bhed, vijatiya bhed is present in the cow. Like that, we will have avidya bhed, which is a vijatiya bhed, and where will it reside? Where will it be located? In Brahman. So Brahman, by this, will become the one with avidya bhed, vijatiya bhed. And what is it that you are saying is akhandatvam, sir? Akhandatvam means, and one of the parts of that definition will be vijatiya bheda shoonyatvam. This vijatiya bheda shoonyatvam cannot become the lakshanam of akhandatvam. Got that whole point? And therefore, now in order to prove Brahman is vijatiya bheda shoonyam, we will have to turn back to the pramana, so that this lakshana becomes clear. Because lakshana pramana bhyam vastu siddhi. Is the picture clear till now? Hopefully everyone already here.
Yes, Swamiji.
Okay. Now what happens is we will have to go back to the Shruti. Because Shruti is the pramana which shows what is Brahman. Brahman is not going to be determined by you, me, he, she, or President of India or President of America. What is it? What is the pramanam for Brahman? Shrutyeka gamyam. How is Paramatma? Shrutyeka gamyam. Okay. Gamyam means, Swamiji, we have gum at home. We used to stick papers. No, sir. Gamyam means that which can be known. Gam dhatu jnana artha mein bhi hota hai. That's why we have avagama, etc. Hello. Now, the Shruti shows Brahman. How does the Shruti show Brahman? Ekameva dvitiyam. Brahman is, Brahman alone is. Brahman alone is non-dual, advitiyam. Aitadatmyamidam sarvam. All this in reality is Brahman. Aitadatmyamidam sarvam. Now, in these two Shrutis, Brahmavastu is shown, or the first Shruti itself, as Ekam Eva, Advitiyam Eva. The Brahman alone is, nothing else is. That Evakara has done this. So by this Shruti, we understand that nothing other than Brahman is. But by the apatti, by the objection which was shown by the Purva Pakshi, that avidya, by the virtue of not being the karyam, is another satyam. A satyam means that satyam which will stand along with Brahman. So ekameva dvitiyam shruti now is challenged by him, and therefore we are going to say ekameva dvitiyam shruti speaks only about Brahman, but where does this shruti speak about avidya not being there? Let that shruti say ekameva dvitiyam. This shruti does not anywhere say confer upon avidya the status of mithyatvam, kalpitatvam. Therefore, now over here, along with this shruti, the shrutarthapatti pramanam comes to play the role. We have seen this in quite a bit detail before, but here this can be used to, because when something is reiterated, it becomes firm. What happens? The shrutarthapatti or arthapatti as a pramanam. Let us understand arthapatti. Let us go back to the example that has been given to us for arthapatti pramanam. What example? Is everybody alert? Because, we are entering into some discussion which may not be available even in your translations or the other places. Okay, therefore be little alert. Don't sit drowsy or very casually. Okay. Here. Pino devadattaha divana bhunte. There is one healthy, stout gentleman, Devadatta. He is never seen to take any food during the day. But he still remains stout. Pinaha. He remains stout. So when this is the case, there is a conflict. Eating and maintaining the weight goes together. Not eating and losing the weight goes together. But not eating and not losing the weight doesn't go together. So therefore, there is an apatti over here. How can this be understood? Not eating, yet not losing weight. This is how to make it comprehensible, how to understand this phenomena. And therefore, when there is this object, what do they say? Sort of a virodha, contradiction which you find, a pramanam called as arthapatti comes to play a role. And that arthapatti means and some sort of an idea, a thought, or you will have to imagine a link between these two to remove the disparity, to remove that contradiction, to remove that gap. Therefore, he doesn't eat during the day, but he eats during the night. He doesn't eat in the day, but he eats at night. By this, now his pinatva, the fatness, the stoutness of Devadatta is justified. He may not eat during the day, yet because he eats at night, he remains fat, he remains stout. Got it? Now, this arthapatti cannot be regarded as anumana. Some people, in fact, some schools over here, who do not accept arthapatti as a separate pramanam, they say arthapatti can be adjusted under the anumana pramanam. But the Mimamsakas, the Bhattas, as well as in Vedanta, arthapatti is regarded as a separate pramanam. Now, this is going to be another topic. Why arthapatti should be regarded as a different pramanam? Okay, an independent pramanam. Pramanam will always be independent. Okay. So now, similarly, just as Devadatta's stoutness is answered by his eating at night, which is not seen, yet it is justified to place that kalpana over there, like that when it is said, Brahman alone is satyam, ekameva dvitiyam, Brahman alone is and is non-dual. Therefore, the possibility of anything else being there is already denied by the Shruti, by the Evakara. Now, what happens is, by the argument presented by the opponent, we have avidya, which is not karyam, also is seen to have another seat, and therefore there is duality. But this duality will have to be answered, because Brahman is non-dual. And then if you see duality, therefore that Shrutarthapatti pramanam comes, arthapatti which is brought by the Shruti. That Shrutarthapatti comes to say that though avidya is seen and avidya is not the karyam, yet avidya by the Shruti ekameva dvitiyam gains the status of being kalpitam, just an appearance. What accords the status of appearance to this avidya, in spite of it not being the karyam? The Shruti. Shruti directly has said that no. Then how do you say Shruti? It is Shrutarthapatti. Ekameva dvitiyam. Therefore, now, iti Shrutya. Are you there on the page number 123? Are you following that line?
Yes, Swamiji.
Please keep your fingers under the line that we are going with. Hopefully everyone has the book or the PDF. That's compulsory. It is compulsory. Manisha, do you have the PDF at least? ये ऑन करके भाग गई क्या? चलो आए एकमेव द्वितीयम् इति श्रुत्या साज्ञानस्य कार्याकार्य सर्वप्रपञ्चस्य ब्रह्म अव्यतिरेक अवगमेन अज्ञानस्यापि कल्पितत्व संभवात्. Now that aitadatmyam idam sarvam allows you to understand Brahma Vyatirek, Brahma Avyatirek. Whatever that is seen, known, experienced is not other than Paramatma. But can we regard this as Paramatma then? Though it is. Yet, what you are calling as the Karya Prapancha, therefore is Kalpitam. And so Kalpitatva Sambhavat. Because it is Kalpitam and because it is Mithya, vijatiya bhed cannot be there in Brahman. Vijatiya bhed is not there in Brahman. Therefore, the first part of the definition, vijatiya bheda shoonyatvam, is proven. Kalpitasya sarvasya prapanchasya mithyātvena. Sarvasya prapanchasya mithyātvena. Why? Because that prapancha is kalpitam. So kalpitasya sarvasya. And what prapancha? Karya. Whether it is karyam or whether it is akaryam. What have you found as akaryam? Akashavayu, etc. is akaryam? No, sir. Akashavayu, etc. is karyam. What is akaryam? Avidya is akaryam. And therefore, karya sarva prapanchasya mithyātvena paramarthataha, in reality, adhishthane asatvena, that it is absent in its own substratum. Vijatiya bheda shoonyatvam brahmanaha upapadyate. Now it is logically proven. Upapadyate can be cognized. Upapadyate is proven. Okay, what is proven? Vijatiya bheda shoonyatvam. What is this vijatiya bheda shoonyatvam? It is the first part of the definition of akhandatvam. How has the teacher defined akhandatvam presently, as even as upadhi, as bheda shoonyatvam. Akhandatvam means bheda shoonyatvam. Bheda shoonyatvam means vijatiya, sajatiya, swagata bheda shoonyatvam. So how will that be? Vijatiya bheda shoonyatvam, sajatiya bheda shoonyatvam, swagata bheda shoonyatvam. Got it? And therefore, the first part, vijatiya bheda shoonyatvam, upapadyate. How has he done that? Kalpitasya, this line, the last line, is the final conclusion of that. Vijatiya bheda shoonyatvasya. In proving vijatiya bheda shoonyatvam. Kalpitasya sarvasya prapanchasya mithyātvena. So all these things have already been proven. The prapancha is pratyaksha, anumana, siddham, etc. So, and how has that been there? So, bhrantya prasiddhatvena. Kalpitasya sarvasya prapanchasya mithyātvena paramarthataha adhishthane asatvena vijatiya bheda shoonyatvam brahmanaha upapadyate. So now, vijatiya bheda shoonyatvam has been proven. Now he says, sir, but there is a possibility of Brahman, which is consciousness or conscious being, the conscious presence, like that the jiva is also consciousness or conscious presence, but Brahman is big and this jiva is small. So now, though this jiva is also conscious being, Brahman is also conscious being, but there are two conscious beings, and therefore there are two different jatis, like a small tree and a big tree. So sajatiya bheda is there. So how is this sajatiya bheda being answered, that its absence is being proven here? Evam Tattvanusandhanam aham brahmasmi. There is a typo. Tattvanusandhanam aham brahmasmi kshetrajyam chapi mam vidhi ityadi shruti smriti bhihi jiva paramatmanoho atyantaikya pratipadanena chetanantarasya asambhavat jiva bhavasya mithyātvena ajnana kalpitatvad brahmanaha sajatiya bheda shoonyatvam. So now, how is that sajatiya bheda shoonyatvam proven? In order to show sajatiya bheda shoonyatvam, the Purva-paksha first has to show that there is a possibility of something being sajatiya to Brahman. So there cannot be two Brahmans, correct? To say like two trees, but those two trees, though are trees, yet they are two because one is a mango tree, the other one is a coconut tree. They are not one and the same. So though they are trees belonging to the same genre, belonging to the same species, same category, yet they are different. This difference within the same category is called as sajatiya bheda. Like that, you can have Brahman, which is also Chaitanyam, Jiva, who is also Chaitanyam, which means Brahman is also Chaitana, and Jiva is also Chaitana, but by that virtue, then you will have Sajatiya Bheda in Brahman. What do you want to, what is Akhandatvam? In the second part of the definition, Sajatiya Bheda Shoonyatvam. When Sajatiya Vastu is going to be there, Sajatiya Bheda is going to be also there in Brahman, then how can you claim Sajatiya Bheda Shoonyatvam? Do you understand? Is it going home?
Yes, Swamiji. Yes, Swamiji.
Good. Relax. एक एक चीजों को पहले अगर समझने में दिक्कत हो रही हो, मेमोरी में झट से नहीं आ रहा हो, तो लिखो एक स्टेप। हाँ, कि सजातीय भेद ब्रह्म में क्यों बोल रहा है पूर्व पक्ष। पूर्व पक्ष की बात पूरी तरह से समझें, फिर उसका जवाब दे सकते हैं। ठीक है, we will be able to answer the Purva Paksha and make the Siddhanta stronger only when we have understood the objections raised by the Purva Paksha. You cannot just discard them. This is the process of knowledge. Humko nahi manna. You cannot just do this. We don't believe in this. Don't believe or not believe is not the case. We are trying to determine a fact about something. देशमुख, ठीक है ना?
Yes, Swamiji.
Is it making sense to you, or something is lost on the way?
No, it's it's perfectly okay.
All right. चलो भाई आगे सजातीय भेद की बात करते हैं। एवं तत्वमसि अहम ब्रह्मास्मि. Now he gives you the Shruti by which the sajatiya bhed is denied. Sajatiya vastu itself, if is not there, sajatiya bheda will not be there in Brahman. Correct? What is the sajatiya thing that he has found? Jiva is the sajatiya. Correct? What does the Purva Paksha find as sajatiya vastu over here? Brahman is also Chaitanyam. Jiva is also Chaitanyam. So there is sajatiya vastu according to him. Big tree and a small tree. Whether big or small, though both of them are of the same category, yet big tree is not the small tree is not the big tree, and by this virtue there is bhed. The small tree bhed will be there in the big tree. The big tree bhed will be there in the small tree. Clear?
Swamiji. Yes, Swamiji.
Very good. Like that, Jiva bhed will be there in what?
Brahma.
And Brahma bhed will be there in?
Jiva.
Jiva.
By that, there is sajatiya bheda is there as seen by the Purva Paksha.
Yes, Swami.
Yes.
Very good. So the Purva Paksha is able to see the sajatiya bheda. How does he answer? Tattvanusandhanam aham brahmasmi kshetrajyam chapi mam vidhi. That you are, I am Brahman. Kshetrajyam means the Jiva is Paramatma. So Shruti Smriti Bhihi, by these Shrutis and Smritis, Kshetrajyam Chapimam Vidhi is a Smriti, it is not a Shruti, but from where? Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter. So it is a Smriti. So he says, Shruti Smriti Bhihi. I'm not saying something that I'm creating. It is Shruti only, And that Shruti is well reflected in Bhagavad Gita. And therefore, Shruti Smriti Bhihi Jiva Paramatmanoho. Jiva and Paramatma, Atyant of Jiva and Paramatma, Atyanta Aikya Pratipadanena, absolute oneness. When it is said Jiva is Paramatma, Jiva is Paramatma. When this is said, what is understood? Atyanta Aikya. That Jiva is not said as to be like Paramatma. The small tree is also like the big tree because it also does photosynthesis and it has roots and all these things. No. Is not over here, similarity is not shown. Jiva is like Paramatma because Paramatma is Chetana. So also Jiva is also Chetana, is not said by these sentences. What are these sentences very clearly saying? Jiva is Paramatma. When Jiva is said as to be Paramatma, then over there, what is there? Atyanta Aikyam, absolute oneness. It is not absolute unity. It is not even absolute amalgamation, mixing up. Because then there is this idea that, someday in liberation, I will go and merge in Paramatma. There is no merger happening. Jiva is Paramatma. Okay? Paramatha Jiva Paramatmanoho. Jiva Paramatmanoho is Shashti with dual case.
Yes, Swamiji.
Of Jiva and Paramatma, Atyanta Aikyam, the absolute oneness. Pratipadanena, these vakyas, which are because the Shabda Pramanam alone functions in showing what is Brahman. Now this vakya is showing you Brahman, but as showing you Brahman as that what is Jiva is Paramatma. Atyanta Aikya Pratipadanena Chetanantarasya Asambhavat. There is no other Chetan Vastu. When there is Chetan, what is it? Brahman alone. So Chetanantarasya Asambhavat. It is impossible to accept presence of any other conscious being. Chetanantarasya Asambhavat Jiva Bhavasya. Now that what is considered to be the small little individual, the Jiva. How has this conscious being attained the status of Jiva? Through ignorance. Jiva Bhavasya Mityatvena. Therefore, that what is because of ignorance is not reality. The snake is seen because of ignorance. And therefore, snake is not real. What is real is rope. And therefore, what is the status of Jiva?
Mithya.
What is this? Mithya. Mithyatvena. Ajnana kalpitatvat. Mithyatvena. How Ajnana kalpitatvat Mithyatvena. Put it that way. It will become better. Because it is something that appears due to avidya, ajnanam, ignorance, something which is due to ignorance. And that what is due to ignorance is what?
Mithya.
Vidya, brahmanaha. So there is no sajatiya vastu over there. When there is nothing sajatiya, will there be sajatiya bheda in Brahman?
No.
No.
When there
No,
is no
Swami.
sajatiya bheda in Brahman, what is the lakshanam?
Sajati Veda Shoonyatvam.
Shoonyatvam.
So what is akhandatvam? One part of the definition, sajatiya bheda shoonyatvam. Thus, sajatiya bheda shoonyatvam is unaffected, in fact, is there. So therefore, bheda shoonyatvam cannot become the definition which you had claimed. We are systematically showing you that yes, akhandatvam is upadhi, and in this upadhi, bheda shoonyatvam can become the definition. And how? Vijatiya bheda shoonyatvam, sajatiya bheda shoonyatvam, and also now we have to see the third bheda shoonyatvam, which is
Swagat Veda.
Swagata
swagata
Veda.
bheda shoonyatvam. How does he show that? Tatha, so also. Nishkalam, nishkriyam, shantam, niravadyam, niranjanam, kevalo nirgunascha, asango hiyayam purushaha, nityas sarvagatasthānuhu, achaloyam sanatanaha. So now these are the shrutis and smritis which he has brought over here. The shruti says nishkalam swagata bheda. What is this swagata bheda? Like within the same tree, the bhedas which are there, like the branches, the twigs, the trunk, the root, the fruit, the leaves, the flowers. So they have swagata bheda, though it is all tree. Correct? Though it is all to be put together is tree. But one part is not the other part. The trunk is not the branch is not the twig is not the leaves are not the flowers is not the fruit. True or not? So there is bheda, swagata bheda. Okay? Swagata bheda is there. So now when there are parts, we will be able to say there is swagata bheda. Now the shruti that first comes over here is nishkalam. Kala means the part. Nishkalam means that which is partless. Nishkalam, nishkriyam. When there are parts, there is movement. Nishkriyam, so there is no movement, there is no kriya. So when there is no kriya, there is not even the vikriya, the modification possible. Shantam niravadyam niranjanam. So nishkalam word allows us to understand Paramatma is partless. Nishkalam, nishkriyam, shantam, niravadyam, niranjanam, kevalo nirgunascha. So, kevalaha, just alone, nirgunaha, without any gunas, attributes, qualities, nothing there. Nirgunascha. Asango hiyayam purushaha. This purusha is not attached to anything. Asangaha, because there is nothing else. Nityaha sarvagatasthānuhu achaloyam sanatanaha. Now these are the various shrutis and the smritis. Nitya Sarvagata Sthanur Achaloyam Sanatanaha is this Smriti, Bhagavad Gita. So Shruti Smriti Bhihi, what has been denied by these? By the Shrutis and Smritis, Avayava, Guna, Kriya, Jati, Sambandha, Pratishedhena. What all things have been denied by these Shrutis now? Avayava. Avayava meaning the part. Avayava. Guna. Guna meaning attributes.
Attributes.
Kriya, movement.
Movements.
Okay, let us understand as movement as present now. Movement. Jati. Sambandha. Pratishedhena. Now, all these 5 things have been denied by the Shrutis. Nishkalam, Nishkriyam, Shantam, Niravadyam, Niranjanam, Kevalo, Nirgunascha, Asango, Hiyayam, Purushaha, Sarvagata, Nitya, Sarvagata, Sthanu, Achaloyam, Sanatanaha. Now, over there, how all these 5 things mentioned over here are denied by these Shrutis and the Smriti is something that you can think about. But Ityadi Sambandha, all this Sambandha, etc. is also one thing. Avayava, Guna, Kriya, Jati, and Sambandha. By denying these 5 things, what are we going to conclude? That there is no swagata bheda. Okay? There is no swagata bheda. That bheda which exists within that same entity is called as swagata bheda. Pratishedhena, that has been denied. Pratished. Then Srishtyadi Vakyaihi Jayamana Avayava Gunadinam Shruti Pratipadyatva Bhavena Maya Kalpitatvena Cha Mithyatvad Brahmanaha Swagata Bheda shoonyatvam iti bhavaha. By not denying, not how do you say pratishedha means? By
Contesting. Contesting.
not contesting is not.
By refuting.
Refuting is also okay.
Opposing.
No. Nishedh karna.
Nullifying something.
Nishedh karna.
Rejecting.
Huh?
Rejecting.
Okay, yeah. This is still better. By rejecting, okay, for
Or
present. Huh?
negating. Negating.
Negating. A more correct word. By negating the avayava, guna, kriya, jati, and sambandha, now we understand that Paramatma is swagata bheda shunya. But there is yet one problem which is going to take place. And that problem is, sir, there are certain vakyas of the Shruti which say that Paramatma created this world. Okay? Then when it is said Paramatma is the creator, which means that Paramatma has some kriya, and in order to create, avayava is also required. So avayava is required, guna is also required, kriya is also required, and by that jati also comes, and sambandha also will come, that he is the creator, that is created, some sort of sambandha will come. Janya Janaka Bhava Sambandha, some sort of all these things will come, and by that swagata bheda will also be there. Okay?
Yes,
All
Swamiji.
right. By this, so these other vakyas of the Shruti, which say Srishtyadi Vakya. Srishtyadi Vakya means that vakyas, those sentences which show Paramatma is the cause of this world, etc., where it is said, what will happen now? By these vakyas, we will be forced to then accept that there is avayava, guna, kriya, jati, and sambandha. If there is avayava, etc., what will that mean? There is
Swagata bhed.
swagata bheda is there. Now, therefore, there is one part of the Shruti which says, which by whose presence we will have to then accept Paramatma has swagata bheda. If Paramatma has swagata bheda, then akhandatvam, which is swagata bheda shoonyatvam, cannot be accepted. But then the Siddhanti says, no, sir. Paramatma, this akhandatvam means swagata bheda shoonyatvam will be proven to you in spite of these vakyas. In spite of these, which vakyas? Srishtyadi vakya. Okay, got that? Are you able
Yes.
to get it?
Swamiji.
Srishtyadi vakyaihi jayamana avayava gunadinam. Okay. Now, how are we going to prove that there is swagata bheda shoonyatvam?
Shruti Pratipadya.
How will we see that? Let us see that when we meet tomorrow. For present, akhandatvam is vijatiya bheda shoonyatvam and sajatiya bheda shoonyatvam. These two parts of that definition remain unscathed, unaffected. It is there. So we are going to see the third part, and therefore akhandatvam can be accepted as an upadhi, and therefore akhandatvam is there. This akhandatvam, which is the Shruti Pratipadya Vishaya or the Shruti Tatparya Vishaya, this Tatparya Vishaya becomes the determining force of the Vakya, the force that will determine the meaning of the Vakya. Okay?
Yes,
Is that
Swamiji.
okay so far?
Yes, Swamiji.
Yes, Swamiji.
Thank you very much.
But Swamiji, my question, sorry.
Yeah.
How is it akhandatvam upadhi?
This is a good question.
Because if akhandatvam is the wholeness of Brahman, the like cowness of a cow. Now, how the cowness can become an upadhi?
We will see this akhandatvam, how akhandatvam is accepted as an upadhi. It is, just to give you this a little bit of, heads up, though this is not discussed here, elsewhere, but, just to satisfy this curiosity, this question, Brahman is nirvishesha vastu.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, Swami.
is nirvishesha. Now, this akhandatvam also can become a vishesha.
Oh. Okay.
Akhandatvam also can become a visheshana.
Yes.
And by that, what will happen? Then Brahman will also become Vishishta.
Yes.
So therefore, we are going to say that Akhandatvam also is an Upadhi, which at the end is truly not there. Okay?
Okay. I get it, Swamiji.
हाँ, लेकिन वो
Thank
बात
you.
की बात है, अभी तो केवल उपाधि के रूप में इसको स्वीकार करना योग्य है।
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Swami. Because I couldn't go past that till that thing got clarified in my head.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti मूर्ति भेद विभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्त देहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम Mahadev. Thank you all. Thank you very much.